are these people?
I want to talk about, holy shit, what's going on in California and what's going on in North Carolina and what they're doing to try to help the people that have been affected by the disasters that have happened there. So nobody here likes Gavin Newsom. Boo, boo, right? We're all in agreement that Gavin Newsom sucks. However, much to his credit, he says, I just signed an executive order excusing late property tax payments for those impacted by the LA firestorms through April 10th, 2026. Now, that is state property taxes. That's not local, obviously. He can't do that.
Federal, right.
Well, no, not federal, obviously. There are no federal property taxes, but state property taxes.
Yeah, local.
And then you've got municipal, county, etc. He can't suspend all of them. All right? But California will continue to do all we can to support our SoCal communities and get them all the help they need. Right? So that's nice. And our friend Matt Van Swole tags the governor and says, this is the way. Right? That's the North Carolina governor, Josh Stein. Hey, North Carolina governor, why did you not do this for the people of Western North Carolina in all caps? Right? Because not only that, but again, extending the deadline. California's here for the survivors. And then you've got American Psycho himself, Gavin Newsom. All right. And I'm not going to play his blabbering. Now, I did want to play this video, which is only 28 seconds, but I want to give it a little bit of preface first. You know, we've been covering Matt's story quite a bit, and I almost feel like he's going to end up running for office. Like, he's going to parlay this into something. He'll get a show on maybe Fox News or somewhere. Like, he's developed himself into a personality and a celebrity. He's got a big following now, and he's been helping people incredibly every day. Now, he says, I finally made it to the Blue Ridge Parkway in Western North Carolina for the first time this winter. I barely recognize it. There are more trees lying on the ground than there are standing up. I've honestly never seen anything like this. I'm going to rewind this and watch this drive. It's kind of heartbreaking. It's just stillness everywhere. You should be able to hear it. I don't know if there's sound. But it's just like driving through dead forest.
Yep.
Is what it is. You just, there's no leaves on any trees. Anywhere. Like evergreen. Nothing. Or anywhere. As far as you can see. All right. So I wanted to bring that because Matt shared that. He also shared this one. Holy crap. This came, and he's been fighting like crazy to make sure that the people of North Carolina, and he created this whole spreadsheet and a hotline for people to call in so he can be a central hub to gather all this stuff. Because FEMA's not answering the phones. So he decided to set this up with his wife and some other members of the community. Incredible. North Carolina Senator Ted Budd has confirmed that FEMA has been kicking out Western North Carolina residents into the cold from hotels that were supposed to be extended. It's unclear whether FEMA correctly communicated the extensions to the hotels after their 8:12 p.m. post on Twitter. Crazy. All right. All right. My office is hearing again. That was from one of the two senators from North Carolina. I don't follow politicians. All right. We really need propane and heaters. All right. I've never done this before, but I set up a gift list for propane heaters here. If you're able, please purchase one for someone in Western North Carolina that needs one. That was January 15th. He says, oh my God, you bought them all in 15 minutes after I posted this. Thank you.
Propane and propane accessories.
Mutual aid is all we have. I mean, we are getting ourselves out of this. The only things that we are. No, not this mutual aid couple. They did not get arrested by the FBI, to my knowledge. If they do, I will break down whatever jailhouse they're in to make sure they get the fuck out. Because these people have been doing nothing but helping and doing the Lord's work for 5 months with nobody really supporting them other than each other. So then he continues to say here, holy crap. So now this is the next day after the governor, after the senator gets them an extension. All right. Buncombe County confirms it doesn't even have a ballpark guess of how many people are still waiting on FEMA's help. This comes just days after dozens of families, some with small kids, were kicked out of FEMA hotels and into the winter cold. Look at this. Okay, I gotta turn off the music.
Music. Yep.
Again, he does great short videos that are awesome to show overhead, and you can kind of see the progress. It's starting to snow. That's still a barn in the river. They haven't dragged it out. Buildings still not cleaned out and dragged, kind of dug out. I know. Reef's going to say this reminds him of Katrina. Like months later, and it still looks like it did when it first happened.
Places still like that. Still look like that after Katrina, so.
And they're getting, they're getting snow. Seven Sword Mary says Buncombe is really a poor part of the state. That's right. All right.
Anna Mary says it's 3 degrees here in Iowa.
Now, I did want to shout out, and last week's show when we talked about this, I said that there was one charity that was doing some amazing work to get people into homes, and they're called Mercury One. Matt had shared this last week, but this family is one of the families, and thank goodness they blurred the kids' faces out. One of the families that you saved this weekend in Western North Carolina. This family has lost everything due to Hurricane Helene. This single mother and her 5 children, all under the age of 10, were kicked out of their motel room granted to them by the FEMA Transitional Shelter Program because their dog was too large to stay in the motel. The family had nowhere to go during a winter storm with sub-freezing temperatures. They called Matt. Desperate, crying. Mercury One was able to step in and provide a cabin for this family so they had somewhere warm and safe to stay through the weekend. With children under the age of 10, their lives were at stake if they would have been left in the cold. Thanks to the generosity of Emergency RV, this family is receiving an RV and will now have a place to call home during the uncertainty of the FEMA Transitional Shelter Program. Lives were saved this weekend because of you. We have been able to pay for over 670 nights of hotel stays that will be extended whenever FEMA's TSA program expires, so no family has to worry. Wow. There'll be more to come as we are currently coordinating with local hotels to continue to help hurricane victims. Again, people helping each other, federal government nowhere to be seen and only in the way. An impediment. Like 93 little houses have been delivered. Also working on long-term solutions so families can have somewhere to call home and communities can start to be restored. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. And again, shout out, kudos to Glenn Beck for getting the story out there. We may not like him. He's got a big reach. Sean Hendricks as well. Right? Anyone who's got access to a platform that isn't talking about this, why? Why are you not talking about this? These are Americans that are left out starving and freezing. And he was showing lines for propane today. Wow. Miles. But the incompetence doesn't end in North Carolina. World Socialist website, who I bring 2 articles from tonight. This is the first of the 2. All right, this is a combined article written by a lot of the staff out there about how the LA fire survivors face arduous federal aid process and delayed payouts. Well, we could have told you that based upon what had happened in East Palestine, based upon what had happened in Conyers, Georgia, based upon what had happened in Asheville, Western North Carolina, South Carolina, and Eastern Tennessee. So this is Bainbridge Island, Okay, Washington fire crew, right, in Pacific Palisades. Look at the foundation, just right down to the floors. Oh God, just awful. All right, so there's a long article here. All right, over 150,000 Angelenos have been forced to evacuate at a moment's notice, with virtually no support from city, state, federal governments. Many forced to flee to the homes of families and friends, hotels, Airbnbs if they can afford them, or to a handful of emergency shelters set up by FEMA. However, only 569 public shelter beds have been open to the public. I'm going to repeat that. 569 public shelter beds out of 150,000 Angelenos displaced, leaving most wildfire victims effectively homeless. All right. The fires have caused an estimated $275 billion in property damage, far surpassing a FEMA annual budget at $20 billion per year. Well, a lot of that, again, is going to be replaced by insurance and not FEMA to begin with, but that's not the point. What was that? Over 10,000 structures destroyed thus far, mostly single-family residences, and the idea is going to be that they're going to try to rebuild multifamily community housing. All right, 24,000 acres, only 31% contained still. All right, in the Palisades fire, 65% containment on the Eaton fire. This was published when? The 17th, so just the other day, just Friday night. All right, this is Kevin Reed over there. Oh, no, this is the consortium before. Kevin Reed's the other article. Similar to the victims of Katrina, Lahaina, and other climate change power disasters, well, not just climate change, but also mismanagement by their own government locally. Victims of Palisades and Eaton fires have largely been left to fend for themselves, as insurance companies and FEMA have placed bureaucratic barriers between them and financial aid. Didn't take the deed to your house? You might need it in order to prove your insurance policy. FEMA is offering one-time payments of $770 to uninsured victims of the LA wildfires to pay for things like water, baby formula, and prescriptions. And what will they do in 2 weeks? These payments are a pittance for those who have lost everything, and there's little indication that more aid is on the way. Uninsured homeowners are being offered up to $43,600 in housing aid by FEMA and an additional $10,000 from the California State Supplemental Grant Program. Victims are also potentially eligible for up to $500,000 in loans through the Small Business Administration until they run out of money. These grants will hardly be enough to make residents whole when the average cost of a home in Altadena exceeds $1.2 million, according to Zillow. And I wouldn't even use... I don't hear that. I have no soundboard for you. But thank you. But this isn't even Dr. Evil level housing. Like a little 1,200 square foot nothing house is $1 million there, $950. Right? On no property.
I mean, Dr. Evil would put at least lasers on the houses.
On their freaking laser beams on their freaking heads. Yes,
is it an evil petting zoo?
It might be. All right. Before the fires, several national for-profit insurance companies, including State Farm, Allstate, and Farmers Insurance, either stopped offering home insurance or fled from California entirely. An analysis by CBS News found that 1,600 policies in Pacific Palisades were dropped by State Farm in July alone. And then they canceled insurance for over 2,000 additional homes and businesses in the LA neighborhoods, including Brentwood and Montanito. Right? So that's not good. Right? More than 100,000 Californians lost their home insurance. Right? Even insured victims of the fires are struggling. The average time between filing a complicated insurance claim and receiving payment is between 12 and 18 months. All right. Now, you've got to get an adjuster from that insurance company out there, if you know what you're doing and you know you've been in the know, you've done this before, you might hire a private adjuster to work with the adjuster, but most people won't, and they'll walk alongside, but they won't know what it. Right? It's not that they couldn't afford it. The private adjuster takes a percentage of whatever the payout is that they get from the insurance company, and they make sure you end up getting a whole lot more. But homeowners forced off of private fire insurance have been forced to enroll in the California Fair Access to Insurance Requirements Plan, right? FAIR, which provides basic insurance at exorbitant rates that most people can't afford. But these high premiums aren't high enough to cover all the claims, right? So that's going to go bankrupt, right? Homeowners can expect an additional $1,000 to $3,700 a year surcharge just to keep the insurer solvent. Jesus Christ. What a mess. All right. Yep. There's a lot to this article, again, at World Socialist website. I'm going to link this in the description. I want to move on and get to our next one. Like I said, I had a lot of stuff today. And the next one was also that Matt reported that representatives from both California and North Carolina are calling for FEMA to be completely overhauled, as LA victims are also now getting rejected by FEMA. 48 hours after they kicked dozens of Western North Carolina families out of their homes. All right. Now, from what we've seen, FEMA has extended the deadline for people to get out of the hotels to the 25th of January. But as I reminded Matt, winter doesn't end on January 25th.
Nope.
What are we going to do? What are they going to do? The Appalachian Podcast wants to eliminate, move on. They need some kind of a mechanism federally to be able to offer relief quickly when people have something happen to them like this. I am a big believer that is something we need to do. This is great. I appreciate everyone being here. Real quick, support independent media, please, if you can. Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal. That too. That's nice. PayPal, INNnewsletter.com. Pick up a subscription there. Of course, Stripe will get a percentage of it, and we got to deal with that for now. But Cash App if you can. Appreciate that. If not, Ko-fi, Substack, or share the show if you can't afford to, and we totally get that too. Times are tough for everybody. Subscriptions, or you can pick up a subscription on Rumble. We get 100% of that delivered to our bank account directly. That's always good.
Can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen to 50,000 dead? And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. No, why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me.